Hey up everyone, what's going on and welcome back to Glory Hunter, where I'm at the end of Season 1 and now I'm going to let you know how it has gone down. Now I've started on the finance page because it's the only one that doesn't tell you where we finished. And I suppose I better just rip that band-aid off. We finished second, 3 points behind Lazio, a good solid 10 ahead of Juventus though, and Atalanta 12 points further behind as well. Milan had a stonkingly good second half of their season and ended up 5th. Barest minimum, it does look like I did the right thing avoiding choosing Milan or Roma, the other two sides that were in the Europa League from Serie A. Definitely got the best option, and I was also right in the fact that I suspected that Serie A this year might be the best one to start with, in the sense that it's probably the easiest one to break Juventus' stronghold on the title, because Bayern Munich in Germany this year, I feel like Bayern Munich in Germany this year is quite a little bit stronger than last year, maybe not quite as vulnerable as they were last year. Last year, the Bundesliga was quite variable. That decision, by the way, was also very much vindicated by the fact they won by 27 points. I'm pretty certain they won the title at the beginning of April or late March. It was very early. Although the choice from the Bundesliga in terms of the Europa League opposition by Leverkusen, another team I could have chosen to start this with, were second, 27 points behind, but were second. But yeah, basically vindicated on that front in terms of choosing the right team to start with that could challenge on all fronts immediately. We challenged basically to the final day. I'll show you the results. Our goal difference is the best goal difference in the league. I'm just going to highlight this bit. This is the results. I think there might be a couple just off the top there. Yeah, there's 2-3-1 victories off the top of this page right now. And then you've got the results for the first half of the season. And you can see through to the end of January, things were going very well indeed. Only loss being the Super Cup final, which does not matter for this challenge and generally doesn't matter anyway. We were unbeaten in the league through to the end of January. We were also top. The fact we ended up second, somewhat annoying. And the reason why I cut it off at the end of January was, of course, because the Italian Cup happens at the beginning of February when it comes to the semi-final legs there. As you can see, we lost both of them. 2-1 to Lazio, who had our number every single time we played them. First leg was a little irritating because they did get a 91st minute winner. Second leg less so. Although we did actually have that one with 10 men on the pitch till the end of that, despite the fact we had 6 yellow cards. Yeah, and that's really when things started going wrong in general. Now, it's not too bad on the Europa League front. We did actually come up against my other option. My final decision was between Leverkusen and Napoli on who to start with, and they were the first knockout draw opponent. So the FM scheduling gods gave me that particular amusing face-off, and we did win 2-1 away in the first leg there. Tapsova getting a 95th minute penalty, which made things a little bit irritating, but we did have the 2 away goals and then saw it out in the second leg. Was slightly concerned by the fact they scored in the 4th minute, but we scored one late on, and that basically sorted things out. Dries Mertens missed a penalty. So after they scored in the 4th minute and we missed a penalty, starting to get a little bit tense, but we saw it out. Then we dealt with Leicester quite handily, 1-1 away and 4-1 at home, and then Arsenal. Arsenal scored 4 stupid goals. What was also stupid is we had a player sent off, which did not help, as you can tell by the XG. Their XG was above 3. They deserved 4 goals, apparently. But the goals they got, a certain amount of fortune involved. We'll start with the own goal. Lacazette running down this left-hand side. Lacazette still running down this left-hand side. Yes, Merritt palms the ball into Gosens. Alright, so I'm having to start the second goal a little bit earlier than the highlight gives because it's a moment that happens before the start of the highlight. That's the nonsense part of this goal. Owen's there, Gosens tackles lovely and then just falls over thin air. I don't know what happened there, and because he fell over thin air, he wasn't prepared for Bellerin's subsequent passing, which ended in the goal. I don't know how he didn't get possession of the ball in the first place. Osman did get one back, despite the fact we were down to 10 men at that point, and then Aubameyang's on 42 minutes. It's a throw-in from Tierney. Tierney? I don't know why I said his name slightly weird there, but Lacazette. Yep, Lacazette cannons the ball into a defender, and it falls to Aubameyang. And then Lacazette with another one towards the end. It's Merritt who lobs that one out for no reason to Bakayoko. And that happens. Like I say, for nonsense goals, the last one is particularly nonsense because the instruction is roll it out to the central defenders. Why he tried to lob it to Bakayoko, I have no idea. But we did get another one back, which gave us a Vegamar home for the second leg, which was pretty much immediately crushed by Hector Bellerin in the 5th minute, and then nothing happened in the remainder of the game. I actually went Italian for the second leg, 3 at the back. It did actually restrict them, because the goal they scored was a bit silly again. Tierney, back post there, passed out, and yeah, it's just as goalmouth scramble, basically. It's actually the least ridiculous of all the goals, which is saying something. But going Italian against them, 3 at the back did restrict them. They only had 3 shots on target that game, compared to the stupid amount they had in the first one. Admittedly, that was due to the fact we had 10 men. Out of the Europa League, out of the Italian Cup semi-finals stage, and looking at the league, we didn't massively bottle the league either. We had 90 points. Good draw against Juventus at home, a good draw away at Fiorentina. They're a decent side. The Milan game, can't explain it. We'll get to Milan. We'll get to the AC Milan in a moment. Verona away, that's the one. 90th minute equaliser. The fact we couldn't beat Genoa away from home, who are dead last, also a problem. These 2 draws are what cost us the title, the Verona and the Genoa draws. That's what cost us the title. Lazio were just unrelenting in the end stretch. They just won. They just won every game towards the end of the year. There's no way we could stop them. Probably it's part of the reason why there's no game in this actual episode. I'll try to make sure I feature a game at the end of the year no matter what going forward, because it just doesn't feel right without it. But you could just, as soon as we drew with Verona there, you could just feel that we weren't going to do it. And then, of course, when the Genoa game happened, that was it. We were behind, and we were just really hoping for some kind of Serie A madness to happen towards the end of the year. We'll get to Milan. Now, AC Milan are currently managed by Maurizio Sarri, who has his own name now. So this Parma game at the very bottom of the screen is the last match before the previous manager was sacked. Few good results in there, but you can see if we take away the Europa League, actually, it will give you a better idea of how poor they were. The Udinese game at the very bottom is the first one after Sarri came in. Started well, 2 wins, beat Genoa, who were bottom in the end, beat Torino, beat Benevento. A lot of draws in there, a lot of 2-2s, bizarrely. That's what got them sacked, the original manager. I'm now going to show you what happened after Sarri came in, and from the fact they're 5th, you can probably guess. That is Milan after Sarri came in. They won 10 games in a row, 9 games in a row in the league. Drew away with Bologna, won the next one, drew away with Atalanta, won the next one, drew away at Sassuolo. They were unbeaten for about 3 months. Lazio did them in, of course, because Lazio were unstoppable. And then for some reason, that just kind of crumbled the rest of their season. They didn't really need to try after that point because there's no chance really of cracking that top 4. Even if they'd won those remaining games, I think they would have still been out of the top 4. Actually, no, maybe not. No, they were 15 points behind. Basically, once they drew a Crotone, it didn't really matter. It didn't really matter what they did because 5th were far enough behind and 4th were far enough ahead for it to not matter. But unfortunately, we were part of their unstoppable run. So everyone's on holiday at the moment, pretty much, or on international duty if they are so inclined. The team as a whole is actually looking pretty good. There's a few problem spots. There's a few players that are already guaranteed to come in, which is good. Now, one of the main important situations here is the fact that Lee Kang-in will probably be registered, hopefully, at the end of this year. If he doesn't get registered, I don't know what's going to happen. But theoretically, he should get that non-EU spot that pops open straight away, which might be problematic for one of the players coming in. He is a young player, though, so hopefully it won't matter too much. We have acquired a decent prospect whose contract is up at the end of the year from Argentina. So fingers crossed, he'll be all right. Lee Kang-in this time round, we can actually play him. He can develop a little bit more. He's only 2.5 stars as things stand. We're probably going to play him in the middle, though, because of Politano on that right hand side. We've got Orsolini on that right hand side as well, of course. So we don't really need anyone else on that right hand side. Politano and Orsolini, both very good this year. I'll get to individual performers this in a moment. The problem really lies in this midfield. It took a while to work out what to do. I've actually switched everything over to the Sheffield United roles with ball-winning midfielder, box-to-box, and the attacking playmaker. I tried things so many times in so many different ways. Dries Mertens was a shadow striker for the majority of the season behind Osman, with an attacking playmaker or defensive playmaker with a ball-winning midfielder or box-to-box. Basically a runner on the right and a playmaker on the left of that midfield. And none of the players really performed massively well there. Fabian didn't do particularly well there. Zielinski did better when he was an attacking playmaker. Nicolo Rovella, probably one of the best players in either of those positions at any point of the season. Diego Dem did well when he wasn't sent off. He was always furious no matter what was going on. I've never had a player like that. I might have had one player like that before, possibly it's Sterling, but he was always angry going into every match. Every single team talk before the match, furious was his body language at the start of it. Calm down, Diego. But Bakayoko was also very good there, but he's on loan. He'll go back to Chelsea. Not really bothered bringing him back because we'll get to the incoming players in a second. Right back, basically, I'm going to put a cross through it. Right back is a position I'm going to improve on because I'm not massively overawed by any of the players who played there. Di Lorenzo was good. Malqui was good when he wasn't injured. He got injured quite late on. in the season about Marchish, which took him out for the rest of it, which is a problem because I felt like he's actually the best stat-wise, attribute-wise, sorry, and probably stat-wise as well, thinking about it. But I just felt like he had the ability to do what I wanted at right back. He has the ability to go forward and the ability to defend in equal measure, basically. Ghost as left back was fantastic. Left back, central defence, all fantastic for the most part. Koulibaly had a couple of weird games where he didn't perform when they were the most important games of the year, annoyingly. I think he had a rubbish game against Lazio. I think he had a rubbish game against Arsenal as well. Like, it was the big matches where he just didn't turn up for whatever reason. We'll highlight him now, because why not? It is on his profile. Okay. Good to know that Koulibaly hates big matches going forward. For some reason I never noticed that during the actual season. I'm good at this. Merit in goal, fantastic in general. Like, when it comes to goalkeepers, I don't really feel like we need to do much. Like, goalkeeper's fine. Like, right-hand side's fine. That's a weird tick. Left back's fine as well. Gosens was fantastic throughout the year. Mario Rui, his backup, was actually the best average rating for the entire season. And for central defence, we're absolutely fine. We've got Koulibaly, we've got Mancini. Manolas never kicked off despite not being a starter. I think he must have played just enough. Because Mancini is an important player, even though on paper I would have regarded him behind Manolas when I brought him in. But Manolas is only a regular starter, and I think he played just enough to not kick off. Left-hand side is something I'm very curious about, because Insigne plays there first and foremost. He'll be the starter next year. Lozano plays on the left-hand side. Possibly Lozano could play up front as well. Dries Mertens can play left wing and strike as well. Dries Mertens would probably be relegated to the second choice striker next year. He's getting on a bit, but he is still pretty good. I'll highlight him now, actually. See, he's still pretty good. Pace-wise, 14, 15. But he's probably going to decline over the course of the year, which is the problem. And his contract's actually up at the end of the year. But he can play on the left, he can play in that centre, he can play up front. He'll pretty much be that backup player for those three positions for this next year. But the problem is those midfield too, because Fabian, worth following, did give him a new contract, did pick up his game towards the end of the year. He was averaging about 6.6, 6.7 for the first half. 6.93 in the end, 5 goals, 1 assist. Not what you want from a player who is regarded first and foremost as playmakers on his positions. An 18 passing, good vision as well, good technique. 1 assist is not what you want from a player like that. Diego Dem is one of those players I don't really understand the star ratings on. Does like big games. 3 stars. Great ball winning attributes, essentially. Pace and strength a little bit low, but the rest of it, sensationally good. Good aggression, good bravery, good teamwork, good work rate, great tackling as well, and marking. To me, he is the media description to tenacious defensive midfielder. Bang on. That's exactly what he is. He is tenacious, ball-winning midfielder. So I don't really see the need to change Dem or Fabian. Bakayoko's going, who sort of rotated in that spot. We do have a player coming in who might solve this issue. I might start Dem. Dem might actually start next season because he is that role personified. But for me, my standout performer this year is the young Nicolo Rovella, who is still not that good, but ended with a 6.97. But from 14 starts, 7.04 in total across all performances. This is a lad who's only going to get better. He's got 3 assists. He's got 3 times as many assists as Fabian, for crying out loud. And he only started 14 games. Politano on the right is a pre-arranged transfer that's already in the game before we started, and thank God he performed quite well. Only 3 stars, will stay 3 stars, with 7.14 over the course of the season. 6 goals, 8 assists. Did kind of drop off. Most of that performance was in the first half of the season, but thankfully Orsolini picked up his slack. 7.02, 6 goals, 2 assists towards the end of the year. He was pretty much the reverse. Most of his good performances came in the second half of the season. So thankfully, they sort of swapped places. Possibly one of the bigger disappointments was Victor Osimhen, who, thankfully, did pick up his game towards the end of the year as well. 24 goals and 35 starts altogether, 20 and 33 in the league. Ended up with an average of about 7. I was a little bit worried for Victor because he wasn't really banging the goals in the first half of the season. Weirdly, I think he scored more goals in the rougher patch form-wise in general than he did in the unbeaten start. But Caicedo, who we just brought in as cover for the second half of the season because I felt like I needed a better backup striker, 20 teamwork, 20 work rate is ridiculous. Mentally wise, 15-15s, physically wise, he's really good. He's 32, he's really good. Possibly a great pickup for middle tier sides in any of the top divisions. Worth looking into just as a general piece of advice. He's 32, but wage-wise, he's okay. You may have to pay his entire wages if you're going to loan him. But mentally, physically, technically for what you want, pressing forward, deep line, complete forward, solid 3-star player for Napoli, but could be a sensational player for any mid-tier side in Season 1. On loan from Lazio, he did alright. 6.94 altogether, 6 goals and 10 starts. Like, he did the role perfectly. Backup striker, did what he needed to be, basically. Also just going to quickly highlight Andrea Pepetti in central defence, who, another young player, acquired, played him a few times in the league, typically against weaker sides, so maybe that inflates his rating, of course, a little bit. In fact, he was against the sides that we didn't concede to and didn't expect to concede to anyway. Needs to pick up a few of his defensive stats at this stage, but he's only 18. He's got a great ability to jump and great heading already. Some of those mentals, I'd argue, need to come up again, but the leadership's going up, position is going up, work rate's going up, decisions is going up, 7.16 in 7 appearances. It's a good start for the young lad, and in a way, I'm kind of glad I have to stay at Napoli for another year because I would like to see these players develop a little bit more. But when it comes to transfers in, I'm going to say Gianluca Mancini is the... down arrows don't help, do they? But Gianluca Mancini is absolutely the best player we brought in year one. 25 years old, 70k a week, did want to be an important player. And at the time, I was like, I might not play him that much. He might get angry at some point, but God, did he actually deserve that role in the end. 190 centimetres of excellent Italian central defender. Not the fastest, but that's fine. Mentally, he's great. I'd argue not necessarily the greatest technicals either. He's definitely top tier, but not elite level. 14 tackling, 15 heading is good. 13 passing is good enough for a ball player. And for £14 million, 7.18 over the course of the season. 37 appearances in total, got a 7.11 across all competitions. For me, he was the best acquisition. £14 million for what he did. Fantastic. And of course, the board likes me to take players from other clubs. It's part of the club vision. I've never seen it anywhere else before. I guess it's just a Serie A thing. But he did what I wanted him to do. £14 million. Absolute bargain, in my opinion. So if you are managing, you want a player for a top, like a 3.5-star defender for a toppish side, Mancini, look into him. He's pretty good. As is Gosens at left back. I've mentioned him a few times already, but defensively, got it. Forward, got it. Physically, 15s. Mentally, fantastic as well across the board. 26 million he's worth. I think I looked him up recently on the Sheffield United save, and he's gone to Lazio, ironically. He has moved within Italy as well to another side in light blue. But 7.18, 30 appearances, 39 appearances in total, 7.12 across all of them. But £15 million I paid for Robin Gosens. Absolutely worth that money. And also filled the criteria of nicking players from Serie A sides. So as we know, Politano becomes permanent at the end of the year, £17 million, so that's already out of my transfer budget, irritatingly. Dario Sarmiento is the Argentinian I mentioned. I'm not sure if he'll get a work permit. Probably won't matter because for some reason he has popped in primarily on the right-hand side, despite being most comfortable in the middle and the left. But he's left-sided, can play on the right-hand side. He's not great now. I probably would loan him out anyway, so that's why I'm not really too bothered if he doesn't get that EU spot. But the main end-of-season transfer on a free is Jorginho Wijnaldum. 30 years old, 85k is on there. I'm not sure what we've agreed with him. I've looked and it looks like we've actually agreed 85k as well, which is quite good going on our part, I feel like. But physically, great. Mentally, great. Technically, great. Can play anywhere along that midfield, even on the left wing if necessary. But as a deep lying or a box-to-box, which is probably where I'm going to play him most of all, 9 long shots isn't great. 9 long shots and Wijnaldum doesn't seem right to me. I feel like most of his goals come from like the edge of the box. He doesn't score a great deal, I suppose, in general. He did get 11 in 38 for Newcastle when he was there. Plays a little bit deeper for Liverpool, I suspect, because only 16 goals and 170 appearances at Liverpool. Much different scoring rate there, but never mind. Technique, passing, all great, of course. The ability to run up and down. Tireless is the key word for a box-to-box midfielder, I would say. I reckon he's going to fix that problem, and could be a problem for Fabian's position. Although playing an attacking playmaker, Fabian might play a little bit further, Zielinski might play a little bit further forward. We'll see how that pans out in the midfield. Arguably, what I actually need to find right now is actually a ball-winning midfielder to replace Diego Dem or be better than Diego Dem. Diego Dem is one of those players I feel like should be more stars than he actually is. But if I can find someone better than him, then I'm not going to argue. But the left-hand side is this situation here. Adam Hlozek will be my second choice next year and possibly might end up first choice by the end of it, depending on how he develops. I hope I said his name right. Joining the end of the year, I think we paid about 6 million up front for him. Fast, flary, passing's a bit weird. The difference between flair and passing is noticeable, but from Sparta Prague, he's had a 7.42 there this year, 13 goals and 3 assists. I don't know where he's been playing for them. As an advanced forward, actually. Which he can do. He can do striking role if necessary, and probably wouldn't be bad though, actually. To be fair, pacey, can finish, good composure. So it's sort of a player very much a player almost in Mertens' mould. So probably will play backup in those two positions. Of course, in Serie A, you get tons of substitutes and 5 subs to actually bring on. So we'll get plenty of game time in Serie A, I would imagine, as coming in on that left-hand side or as the striker, depending on how the situation develops. But that's basically it. Essentially, I can't cut to my Glory Hunter trophy page because I haven't got any of them to fill in, sadly. However, 3 points behind in year 1 with improvements to come. I feel like we might be in a good position for next year. Ideally, I felt like Napoli were the best choice to deal with the Europa League and the Serie A and possibly a cup as well in year 1. They were my best shot of knocking 3 trophies off in the first year. I still agree with that assessment. If I'm honest, running close in most of them. I don't know what happened against Arsenal, of course. A red card didn't help that situation. So being super unlucky in the Europa League, 3 points behind in Serie A, just perhaps it was fatigue towards the end. Maybe I just need a little bit more rotation option in certain positions or more consistent backup players. There were periods of time where certain players just did not perform game and game. But Merritt, 16 clean sheets in the end, second in the league. He's only going to get better. He's still got a bit more potential in him, so I don't really feel the need to improve him. I reckon we should get at least one of the trophies next year. Of course, on average, you've got 4 years in each section. We will be in the Champions League next year, of course, which means when I do move, I'm going to have to be looking for a Europa League side again because we're already not a Europa League side. If we drop into the Europa League, it won't be the worst thing, of course. I'd rather chase the Champions League than the Europa League, but I think we're in a very good position to maybe do it next year. Hopefully we don't get Lazio until the final of the Italian Cup next year. But unfortunately, we came up against them in the semis, I feel like. But because Lazio were absolutely unstoppable this season, pretty much in total. 5 losses, though. We only lost twice in total. It was 9 draws that did us in the end. And those 2 losses, one of which were against Lazio, one of which was against AC Milan. So basically, turn those draws into wins. 4, 5, 6 0-0s in total. Nick a goal in 2 of those, we'd have won the title. And that's realistically what I'm looking for next year. Turn 2 more of those draws into wins. Get to 94 points. Do better than Lazio, basically. And we should be right. I feel like we've got the advantage on the sides behind us. They might strengthen, we don't know. But I feel like we've already got an advantage on Juventus, Atalanta. Juventus' squad is only going to get older and older. We'll see what they do, whether or not they freshen up with younger talent sometime soon. But the opportunity is there, and we've just got to seize it. So I'll see you for the next episode of this Glory Hunter catch-up. Obviously, if you want to watch it live, twitch.tv/AmazingChi when I do. By the time this goes live, I'm aiming for this to go up on Sunday. It's going to be a slight departure for normal. These catch-up videos I'm going to normally aim to go up on a Friday, but won't be streaming during Christmas week either. I might have a Monday night stream, if I'm still here, basically. So keep an eye out on Monday night for this series. So I'll get you caught up with the transfers for the start of Series 2, probably after Christmas at that stage, because they're all going to go through the end of the transfer window. Will probably happen during that Monday stream. So I won't be able to get anything up before Christmas, but I'll probably see you for the week after on YouTube for the catch-up. Of course, Sheffield United continues as normal Tuesdays and Thursdays. See you for that as well. Until then, ta-ra.